In this video, we're going to have a look to see how we can create a scroller, and also then, just to make it more interesting, we're going to add the quick view feature into our scroller, and we're going to pull in the products from WooCommerce. To do this, we're going to use the Piotnet plugin. So let's just go and have a look at the setup there. We head over to the admin area, and you'll see that as far as the plugins go, we have Piotnet installed, and we're using Oxygen. So there's the Piotnet Grid installed, and then we're also using Oxygen with Oxygen elements for WooCommerce, and then Woo sidebars for the sidebars. But all we really need is Piotnet Grid, and we can create the slider. So let's get started on a new slider to show you how easy it is to put this all together. So the first thing that we're going to do is create a card, and the card is the display of the item. And at the moment, this is the scroller product card, so we're going to add a new one. And we're going to call that, let's call that scroller card, and let's give it the number 2, publish. And then we edit with Piotnet Grid. So the card is the individual item that will appear in our grid, or in this case, in our grid scroller. So to get started, I always like to create a section. You don't have to. And in that section, let's add an image. And let's also add some text. Right. And what we can also do then is add the quick view. So there we have the quick view, the text, right, and the button. So now we go to the image, and I'm going to say select the featured image. Size wise, I'm going to go for the medium, 300 by 300. The link will go to custom URL, then we'll select a dynamic URL, which will be the post URL, and we'll hit save. So there we have the image ready to go. Now what I'm going to do is do the title. So that was the text element that we added to the card, and the content for the text element is going to be the name of the product, because I'm going to do this from products, and I head down to product title, and you'll see that it appears. And what I'm also going to do now is generate the link URL, which is the post title, the target itself. And what I'd also like to do is just change the size of that. So head over to typography, and I'm going to make the size 16, and text align and color, I'm just going to center that. So there we have that in the center, and maybe I want to move the title up and move the quick view down one. So now I'm going to head over to the quick view, and I'd like to align that in the center. And also the blue, I'm not so crazy about the blue, so what I'm going to do is just change the background color in the normal mode. I'm going to make that gray, and when you hover over the widget, I'm going to make that background color black. So now when I hover over the widget, that changes color. And what I also want to do is just include some more spacing here. So under advanced, I'm going to go to the margin and padding, and in my card, what I'm going to do is I can either change the margin or I can change the padding. So in this case, I'll change the margin, and I'm going to just separate the elements to individual elements. And then at the bottom, I'm going to add 10 pixels. I'm going to head over to the title, margin and padding, do the same thing, and also add in 10 pixels. And that about does it. Then I'm going to hit save. Now what we need to do is include this in a grid. So I'm now going to head back to the admin area by clicking on the WordPress icon. So there's our scroller card 2, and now I'm going to create a grid, and we'll call that scroller grid 2. So we add new, and let's go to scroller grid 2, and we'll publish that. And then I'm going to edit with Piotnet Grid, and you'll see the grid will load, the interface will load to edit. And now what I'm going to do is simply drop that grid right here, or if I could also drop it into a section. So here we have our grid, and as you'll see now, there's nothing showing until it just comes up with the default filter, which is for post, but we're actually going to do this on product. So yes, we're going to keep the source at product custom post type, and the card that we're going to use, we'll select the scroller card 2, which is the one we just created. You'll see the layout will change, and then what we're going to do is change this to products. So the post type is now products, and you'll see now that we have the products, but that's not really such a great layout. Maybe what we want to do on the layout side is include 4 columns. 4, so that looks a bit better, but we only want a single row. Very easily then we head over to this button here called Carousel Enable, and you'll see immediately the carousel is enabled. And what we're going to do is enable all, but you can disable on different screen sizes, and then we're asked the number of slides to show. So we're going to do that to 4 because we like the 4 layout, and the slides to scroll, we're going to just let's not change that. What we can do now as well is adjust, do we want an autoplay? So maybe yes, let's do an autoplay. Pause on hover, yes. We won't use the infinite loop, autoplay speed, animation speed, navigation. Now you'll see the dots are not so great, so we'll head over to the carousel dot style, and what we're going to do is disable the dots because I don't think we want to use the dots. So let's disable that. So go back to the layout. Under the navigation, change that to just the dots. To just the arrows. So now we've got the arrows on the side and there's no dots to distract, and anyway you can't click on the dots on mobile anyway, they're too small. So we're just going to leave it with this layout, and we can even test it at the moment. So if I click on the arrow, you'll see that the scroller moves, and if I click on the quick view, you'll see that a quick view window will appear. Okay, let's save that. And I'm going to refresh. And okay, the quick view, there we go. The quick view is working. Click, and there's the quick view beanie with logo. So that's working. So now that that's done, what we want to do is include this in our website. Now, I'm using Oxygen Builder, so for me to do that, I would just need to navigate to the page. At the top of the page, I'm going to say Edit with Oxygen. Oxygen will then load, and we can simply insert that scroller. So Oxygen is busy loading. Right, Oxygen is loaded, and I'm going to head over to the structure panel here, and I'm going to add a new section. So there's our new section. I'll just add that, move that to the top of the list. And what I'm going to do now is add that Piotnet Grid. So I head over here to my elements, Piotnet Grid. It was a grid. We select grid, and in the drop-down list, I look for my scroller grid 2. That will appear, and there we have it on the page. And we have an error there. I'm just going to close that. Right, so there we have our scroller. You'll see the difference here as our quick views at the bottom in comparison. We no longer need this section, so I'm going to delete that. And then I'm going to save. Right, that's saved. Let's head over to the front end. Here we are on the front end of the website. The scroll is working. And if I click on quick view, the quick view appears nice and quickly. So that's how easy it would be to include a scroller, add the quick view option so the customer can easily do the transaction without having to scroll to their product on the website. So much easier, nicer user experience. Let's have a look at the mobile view. So I'm going to just move this to the right-hand side of the page and then go and have a look at the mobile view. And you'll see without any adjustment, there we have the mobile view working. You can scroll it with your finger as well. Let's have a look at the quick view. Quick view comes up, it's scrollable, it's mobile friendly. So all set to go with the minimal amount of formatting. And if you don't have Oxygen and you want to insert, then you can also use then the shortcode here and just copy that and insert that in your page. So that's how easy it was to create the scroller, the slider for WooCommerce using Piotnet Grid. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching.